Namaste, Jai Shri Krishna. Hope you all are safe and healthy. Today we starting our talk. Very interesting topic we are discussing about it. A topic which we always connected to us. I remember myself many like 2-3 years ago, when this concept came is online working. In all field it was part of that KB, and then came to us KB, can we as a priest, can we work on work from online working, or because we almost work from home. Basically our work is always from the home, but online working and then managing the life, and we thought KB, let's nothing to try, but before we even try, we landing up into the situation where we have to work online. So now is easy, is difficult to access. Can be working online is the good option or bad option. But there is a two type of the work. The one work which is practical, physical work, where you have to present there yourself, like teacher. As much as teacher try to teach online, but teacher need a student in the class. Same thing, as much as we want to work online, but we need to be interact physically at the particular prayers place. But there are the places where you can work from home online without not being physically present at the particular venue. But what can happen? How your life can get disturbed emotionally, physically, mentally. Not only that, your schedule, how is going to be impact? Because remember, before 8 o'clock work starts, 7 o'clock you jump in your car, drive 1 hour, 45 minutes, half an hour, reach into the office, first have a coffee, let's have a good morning with our colleagues, and then open the computer. Now we coming to this lifestyle where you wake up, make your own coffee, there is nobody there to say good morning besides your family, but in that too, one is sitting in another room, one is sitting in another room, both are having meetings and everything, whole day sitting in front of the screen, front of the computer. During the break time, you don't know what to do. You make lunch for yourself, or you make lunch for your partner, or you eat or not, and how that things impact in your life is being 15 months. Today, we are having our prominent and young guest, Atishca Makan. And she is well known. Is not she is coming first time. This is, I think, third session she is having with us. Basically, she is in Gauteng, and she is the one of the person who is managing this life, working from home, looking after the family, looking after the work, looking after the itself, and also looking after the this kind of the online show as well, because it's spending time, finding time, looking after the time, and how to make yourself happy. This is all we going to understand from Atishca Ben. Welcome Atishca Ben in our show after a long time, but anyway, there is not too long time, because we know some time is this is 6 o'clock is little bit difficult time, and that is why I choose this topic today. In difficult time, how to find a time to fulfill your love, passion, as well as your responsibility. So, welcome back again, and now I think you can start, you can share your thoughts, you can share your views, and then we will continue from there.
Namaste, Guruji, and namaste to everyone that's watching. Thank you so much for joining us again today. It's really difficult to be able to say that am I actually working from home or am I now living at work? Because that distinction has become so blurred that we're not really sure. What is it? Are we now working from home or are we living at work? And this can become something that's very traumatic for people, especially those who are very social people. Because if you have to get up in the morning, you have your certain routines that make you feel comfortable. Okay, so during my drive to work, if you're driving alone by yourself or if you're driving with colleagues, you've got this routine of there are people around me who I can energize myself with by having those conversations. There are people whose knowledge and skills are shared with you when you're on your way to work or when you are at work. And now you are sitting in a situation where that socialization isn't there anymore. It just not in a physical sense, and it becomes very difficult because many people get energized by other people. There's very few of us who are actual, like full on introverts who are able to be by themselves and be completely fine. Most people can't handle that situation. And it does take a toll on your mental health because let's face it, there's only so much you can talk to your family about, especially if you're with them constantly. And most of the time, your family doesn't always understand the pressures that you are facing working. And they're not quite sure how to handle this person who they've never seen work before in person. And here you are now going into your little space, your office, going into work mode. They are hearing you having those conversations with colleagues. They are here to be able to understand the frustrations that you're having at work. So there's a lot of positives to working from home, but there's a lot of challenges that comes with it. And the one thing that I had to navigate the most when I started working from home and when my husband started working from home was that just because you are visible does not mean you are accessible. And that for me was the biggest thing because at home I'm very wife mode and I want to be able to do all of the homely stuff. I want to be able to cook and clean and see to everything, and make sure he's got lunch and he's got tea and he's got all of those different things. And I had to pull back quite a bit because that is where I had to figure out that just because I'm visible at home, because I am working at home, does not mean that I should be accessible, and that doesn't mean that he's accessible. So I shouldn't have to be there going knocking at his door every few minutes. Do you want this? Do you want that? So what I'm finding a lot with people when it comes to allowing themselves to work from home, especially in a household where there's more than one person, it becomes quite difficult because there's also frustrations that creep in around the noise levels in the house, for instance. People are on multiple calls to multiple places, and you're not really sure how respectful you are of the sound levels, for instance, especially if you're living in a house that isn't like massive. There's no huge space between different spaces that people are having. You tend to get very angry and frustrated, and you cannot really show that, obviously, in terms of your work. You can't show that in your video call that you're angry and frustrated, but you'll find that, okay, so the dog's barking and now making you angry, or someone's busy cooking and you're hearing the pots and pans in the kitchen going off, or something, whatever it is around you in your space. It's a very different dynamic to being at work. um, so people are struggling. They are struggling, and it's not an easy one to navigate because everyone's situation is different. Our home environments are different. The opportunity that we have a dedicated space where we can work from is also sometimes limited. Some of us are working from the lounge, some of us are at the dining room table. If you're fortunate enough to have your own little office space, then that's great. But again, all of those different things have taken a toll on us, because we're not really sure how do we switch off. At the end of the day, what happens usually is that you close your laptop and then you're like, okay, so now I'm home. And then what? All the anger from the day, who do you speak to about it? How do you de-stress? Usually it was the drive home that gave you that time to yourself to breathe and to, kind of regroup and to feel a little bit better before you walk through the door. Whereas now you're sitting there in silence as soon as you've, closed off your laptop. And what do you do with all of those feelings that you have? How do you just open the door and expect to be all happy and cheerful and ready to spend time with the family when you haven't, when your last meeting perhaps was one of the really bad meetings that, deadlines were missed and bosses were shouting? And people are struggling to get to that point of, how am I going to do this? I've done it because I had to the first few months of COVID, but now nothing's changing. Everyone is doing the same thing, with we continuing to work from home. Some of us are really positive about it. I mean, for me, for instance, it's the fact that I don't have to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours traveling. I'm not getting angry by the taxi drivers. So, there are some benefits to it. I'm able to wake up at least half an hour to an hour later than I normally would because of the time left of traveling. But also, what about the things that, having that time to myself was able to give me? I could listen to my music, whatever music I felt, would get me energized for the day and go in. All of our routines and the rituals we had in the morning for ourselves, a lot of it's had to change. Most people, especially if they've got kids, are finding it extremely hard because now the kids don't know, especially if they're really young, they don't know that distinction of your parents at work versus your parents at home. If you're at home, you're accessible. Um, and that's kind of how it should be. But most of the time, it becomes really difficult, especially when you're on calls, and you have them looking for attention and you can't necessarily be there. And again, there's added frustrations that come from that. So, working from home is challenging. It's extremely challenging for a lot of people. But what I would like people to understand is that we have to be respectful of each other in that space. Because sometimes what happens is that we get very comfortable. We get comfortable with the, something's not working, something's not happening, go ask the person next door. And again, is that whole point of, just because a person is visible does not mean they're accessible. So we need to show a lot more respect for the people around us, to be able to give them the space they need to do the work that they have to do, and then to allow them the space as well to decompress before we start asking them for things or asking them to help out, or all those kind of things. As soon as we know, okay, so office hours closes at 5, by 5 past 5 you should be out of your office. I think that's something that we have to allow the person to be available and to be present in the family as soon as they are able to, because emotionally we're not really sure where they're at that point in time. It could be frustration, anger, sadness. Things didn't work out the way they wanted it to work out that day for work. So you never really know what a person is feeling, so we have to allow them that space to just decompress, just to be more of themselves when they feel like they're ready to. So, one of the things that I do is to allow myself to have some sort of a routine in the morning. And it's difficult because, as much as you'd like to have the routine of, okay, I'm waking up at 5, I'm going to do my yoga and meditation in the morning, I'm going to have a really healthy breakfast in the morning. It's difficult, especially in winter. And most people are going to struggle with trying to have some sort of a routine. And again, this is a routine that you need to try and figure out for yourself. It shouldn't be a routine where it's you doing chores for everyone else, because you can exhaust yourself when you have to go back into the work front. So try to find things that fill you up in the morning, things that make you more productive, things that make you feel happier to be able to log in from home and to continue working. And most of the time, what I try and do in the mornings is that I'd have my meditation music happening in the background while I'm getting ready, while I'm, logging in into the office, because what happens there is that it puts you into a very calm state of mind. And it's also kind of a trigger for me to say, okay, so now I'm ready to get this day started. And when it comes to working from home, try to find the one thing that kind of keeps you grounded and pulls you back into, okay, so now I'm in work mode. I'm going to be able to, start doing the work that I need to do, but allow yourself to do this for you. It's not you waking up at 5 in the morning, then you've got the washing, then you've got the cooking, the cleaning, and all of those different things. But just because you're at home, again, does not necessarily mean that you should be focused on absolutely everything. Because when you were working, at the office, you did make time for certain things. So allow yourself again to package things neatly so that you're able to shift between I am at home and I am at work. And if you feel like you need to wake up in the middle of the day, during your lunch breaks, or just to be able to take breaks in between to refresh, go out, get fresh air, go out and get some sunshine while we can, while it's still a bit warm, before winter really sets in. Because you'll find that going out in nature, getting sunlight, getting fresh air, and just being out of your workspace really does help give you a bit more of clarity when you are coming back and trying to figure things out. Because when we were at the office, we were able to walk around. We could go chat to a colleague, grab a coffee, go get lunch. There was always something happening at the office. You were able to sometimes drive out to see clients, drive out for meetings, whereas now everything is online. And if I could stress something for a lot of people, it would be, please prioritize your health, because screen fatigue, meeting fatigue, as well as back pain is very real. And I think I've probably been to the physio about 4 or 5 different times over the past year and a half, purely because sitting constantly puts additional pressure on your back, and we don't spend enough time trying to get some movement in. And it really does take a toll on you. So please try to get some movement and things going on, and focus on your mental health. It's easy to have meeting after meeting back to back, but how are you how are you taking care of your personal thought process, especially if we're not having the time to shift between home mode and work mode? There isn't that driving time that we can look at. Sometimes getting up early has to do with actually seeing to all of the things in the house, and sometimes that's okay. But what are we actually thinking of during that time? Are we thinking about all the things that we have to do, or are we genuinely thinking of positive things about life, about how this could also be seen as something to be grateful for, not having to spend time in traffic, not being aggravated by the things that are happening outside of the world, being more present at home and with our families, to be able to see them, and to experience our partners and our families in a very different way, because a lot of what we see is kind of the leftover. It's kind of the leftover parts of themselves after they've exhausted themselves being at work. Whereas now we're able to be a little bit more present. We can see and empathize and understand the stresses that they are going through. And that for me is something that we should be grateful for, because we are now being allowed into parts of their lives that we didn't have access to before, and we can actually see how brilliant they are, how smart they are, how savvy, it comes to the things that they have to deal with. And it's a beautiful experience to be able to work from home, but also just allow yourself that space to be present with yourself. Um, Most people schedule meetings, most companies and most businesses are scheduling meetings. Kind of you end up, you finish one and you're going to the next one, and if you're lucky. Sometimes you end up going into one meeting and then halfway through you have to leave and join another meeting. And companies are, a lot of it has to do with fear, because they aren't sure how to deal with the fact that they can't physically see you. So they have to make sure that you are working. And the only way they can do that is if your day is full of meetings, because if you're in a meeting, then you're obviously working. So people are struggling with a lot of fatigue around that, as well as being able to have to talk a lot more than they normally would. So the stresses that comes from it, also all depends on your personality. Some people are energized by it, some people are exhausted by it, but you need to allow yourself that space to just figure out what works for you. And the main thing is figure out what routine you want to form early in the morning as well as in the afternoon when you finish logging off. And when you do log off, allow yourself to say, okay, I'm done for the day. It's very easy for us. What happens is that we have our work emails and all of those things coming through on our phones. If we're able to avoid that, avoid it. I know most jobs require you to, so what you need to do is just be able to allow yourself that space to say no. Set your boundaries for yourself, that when you are logged off, when you are at home, you are there with your family. Because what's going to happen is that you are going to put yourself under an unnecessary anxiety, because every message that comes on your phone is going to be, okay, is there an email that I missed? Is there something urgent that needs to be done? So just be careful of that as well. If you don't have to have those things coming through on your phone and it's only on your laptop or computer, that's perfectly fine, because you don't want to have that anxiety of, I missed something. Because you have to put the boundaries in place for yourself, because your company or anyone else is not going to do that for you. You have to put that in place. And yeah, I think when it comes to working from home and just being busy all the time, allow yourself time to just unpack. Don't expect yourself to have everything under control. That's the other thing that most people are struggling with, is that just because they have that additional 1 or 2 hours, in the day, because they're not traveling anymore, they assume that those are 2 hours that they need to fill up with absolutely everything that needs to happen. Because when they felt like they didn't have much control before, we had the excuse that, okay, we genuinely don't have time. Whereas now, because we are at home, we're struggling with the fact that, okay, so now if we're at home, we're supposed to have everything under control. The house is supposed to be clean. The food is supposed to be cooked. My work is supposed to be done. I'm supposed to have everything in order because I'm at home. And that doesn't work. And people are getting frustrated with themselves. So don't allow yourself to get frustrated because you are working. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you're working. And that whole thing of I am less than worthy of the time that I have because I am at home. I think that's a mindset shift that people have to work with. Um, working in working in pajama pants is just as important as working in with boardroom in a boardroom with an actual suit. So give yourself credit for the fact that you are waking up every day and showing up and still giving your best. And don't allow it to make you feel exhausted. If you feel like you're reaching that point, there are ways of shifting your energy levels as well. So if we have a bit of time, I just want to show you quickly. Um, in my previous talks with Guruji, we did a whole thing on emotional freedom techniques and tapping, and it's something that I use. So you have multiple energy points that you're able to tap on to allow yourself to shift your energy. But if you are busy and you are stressed at work, you've just had a horrible meeting, you're going into another meeting just now, and you're just sitting there exhausted because you can't leave your little office space. Time is cramped, you can't leave, you can't go anywhere. You can't go out for that break or that coffee with a colleague and then just complain about everything. You actually can't complain about much anymore to anyone because everything is either logged or tracked when it comes to work and meetings. So, what I normally do, even though there are 9 different points, all I do is I just use the side of my arm here, just this point here, and I just tap on it and I constantly tell myself, even though the situation is not ideal, in this moment it's okay. And in this moment, I'm okay. And I just keep tapping on that and I could just keep repeating that to myself because there's a lot of things that we want to change on a daily basis, whether it's more freedom to go out and just to be able to have that break, but we can't. We've got meetings, we have to be here constantly in front of our computers. Sometimes we don't even get that break to go and have lunch. And it sounds ridiculous because we should take that time to nourish ourselves, but sometimes we don't. And usually what happens is that you start feeling anxiety, your chest gets tight, you're not sure what to do. You literally feel like a goldfish in your little bubble wherever you are. And if you are in a public space like your dining room and if people are walking past you and they can see you, how are you containing all of your emotions without blowing up? So that's usually what I do is just I tap on the side of the arm, repeat, even though the situation is not ideal, in this moment it's okay, and in this moment I'm okay. And I have to constantly use that to try and bring myself together so that I can continue doing what I'm doing and find the energy to do more than what I want to do. Because you need to find things that feed you, things that fill your soul up. And talking to people like this and making people understand that it's absolutely okay to not have everything under control, but to allow yourself to feel like I'm doing the best I can with the resources I have, and things will fall into place. So I hope you felt that there was something from there that you are able to take with you in order to try and build some sort of structure around you. But you are more than welcome to talk to us in the chat afterward on the video. And if you have any questions, as well as if you would like to have a complimentary half-an-hour tapping session where I could come up with some lines for you that will work in your particular situation, you're welcome to contact me and Guruji will give you my details as well.
Okay, so basically it was very nice and very informative talk we have had today. Let us understand the topic which was addressed here. The topic which was addressed here, the first is we must remember is dress up. That is the main thing. We always think I'm sitting at the home and it's okay, I'm working from the home, so I don't need to dress up. That's where the the starting point starts. The laziness starts from there. Okay, it's very cold winter, why must I wear this jacket and everything? But that is where the starting point. I remember last year, uh, there was everything was in lockdown, completely everything was shut down completely. There was not even working from home was work started. It's just like technical little mini holiday. It was the situation was there. But there too, one of the many friends of mine used to tell me what they do actually. They still wake up morning. They still decide to wear the normal clothes that as they thinking they're going to the work. They still do the things which they used to do. Why? It's biggest psychological help, where you dress up in your own dress and you work. Second part, if we can take it away from here, is take a break. That's biggest things. Working from home we don't take. We think I'm energetic, I'm powerful, I can do it. Yes, everybody can do it. Let me tell you, I'm working consistently, constantly from many years, maximum 15 to 17 hours. That does not mean that I'm not taking break. Subject I want to make it here is there is a time for everything. This is the second takeaway. If I am not wrong, Atishca Makan is fine. Is that the second takeaway from it?
Mm-hmm.
And third takeaway is, although you working from home, you need to monitor your health. You need to make sure you are looking after the health, because the main thing is, as she just mentioned about it, back pain, other physical issues related emerge. The reason why is we don't do the things which we supposed to do, physical exercise, like just walk for half an hour, 30 minutes. And I don't think so if there is nobody in the world can find 30 minutes. I don't have a 30 minutes to walk. I was one of the person who used to tell one day, honestly I am telling, no man, I don't have a time. But since I have realized walking is so important, now that means there is a 30 minute for walk. Irrespective what I am doing, there is a 30 minute is guaranteed is there for walk. There is no compromise on it. But those kind of the things will help you to enter into the new world which we are already started. I think Atishca Makan will also tell few things about it. Since I have a few minutes. Since we entering into this new world, this is technically is a new world we entering basically. I know maybe younger generation which is going to come into this place to us, it will be easy for them to handle this new world. What you think? What we as a not too old, but say those who are in 40s and 50s, how they are going to fit themselves in this new world? What do you think about what they should do about to fit themselves emotionally into this new world? Because the children who are 18, 19, or 20, 22, it will be easy for them to just enter in this new world. But this generation I am talking about, the 40s who are living in the 40s and 50s, I think if I am not wrong, they only have seen the struggle in their life since childhood. By the time they reach the stage where they say, okay, now we are a little bit comfortable, now new struggle started, now we must enter into this new world. What you suggest about it, what they must psychologically, what they can do it?
So I think they need to learn not to get frustrated with themselves, just because you don't understand technology, because technology is always changing. One minute they say you must use Zoom to do a meeting, next minute you must use some other technology like Microsoft Teams or something. So the first thing would be, don't get frustrated with yourself. It doesn't mean that you're stupid or you're old or that, all those horrible feelings and things we think about each other. And then we start panicking. We start wondering, okay, so if I don't know all these things, I don't learn all these things, is my job at risk? What's going to happen to me? You're putting extra pressure on yourself. So psychologically, just think of it as this is now a new adventure you're going on. You are here taking the opportunity to learn new things. And I know it's hard because once we're comfortable doing things at work that we've always done, we're very comfortable with it. We don't want to have to change. There's always a junior person that can come out and do all those things. We set in our ways. We like to do things how we do it. But this is now new. It's something new, but it should be exciting. It shouldn't be scary. So allow yourself to feel like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn how to use this technology. And if I don't know, I'm going to ask someone. There's nothing wrong with asking people for help. Don't be scared, because
That's
I
a,
know
that's a point.
because we
That's the
always
main
look at
point the people are missing actually, asking.
it's
Because
it's yeah.
when they
It's
are, when we ask, we feel why must I ask? Why should I ask? I should know everything. Why should we feel sorry ourselves? Why should we feel why, a little bit deprive ourselves to asking something which is we don't know. And this is the big takeaway we must learn from. Ask. And I can tell you, nothing wrong to ask. Is that
There's absolutely nothing wrong with asking. And I think we always go with the whole thing that, the older we get, that's where all the wisdom is. Yes, there's a lot of wisdom the older we get, but that doesn't mean we know everything or we know more than someone younger than us. So we need to be able to be open to say, I don't know what I don't know. And it's okay to ask people for help. And you'll find that people are actually very willing to help you. But they can't change if your situation is uncomfortable unless they know you need the help. So don't be scared to ask for help.
this is the one we need to understand, asking the help. Let me honestly, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people are in the world, they don't seek the help. And then in a world, in other side, if we understand, they sometimes people go to the wrong people to seek the help. Want to fix the car and going to the doctor, okay, bhai, I want, my car is not working. How is going to be happen? Doctor can say, I can cure you physically, but how am I going to fix your car? So if you are sitting with your psychological problem, emotional problem, family issue, so you're supposed to be go to the a person who knows the counseling, person who knows the handling to the people, they are in every day in and out in this system. It's supposed to be asked, but you going, where you be going? We going to the friends, we going to the person who themselves are into the situation, they can't come out now. Now we are asking, so we will always will get the wrong advice it, and that's where the more and more issues are emerging. So
Exactly,
thank you,
Guruji,
Atishca
because,
Ben. Yeah.
sorry, yeah, because what happens is that people respond from their own trauma and their own trigger, and it doesn't, you're not getting a unbiased feedback or support from someone. If someone had a bad situation similar to yours, they're going to respond from their anger, from their emotions. So it's very difficult. I think if there's one thing that our community needs to learn is that we should stop being afraid of being judged and just be open to asking for help, because the right people are not going to judge us no matter what the situation is.
And also in the same time, we said we shouldn't even judge anybody too,
Yes.
because uh, what happened, that's the way we start making mistakes, because new world is something which is world tells us, everybody are not clever and everybody are not stupid. Circumstances, situations makes them stupid or makes them clever. Simple example I can tell you. Okay, bhai, for me is technology is something not good for me. Not good for me because I don't know the technology. I'm not tech savvy person. So obviously, when I'm going to type the message, when I'm going to write something, definitely I'm going to make the mistakes. That does not mean it proves that I'm the stupid person in my field. Field, everybody is master in their field. The subject is how we are trying to put ourselves into system. I don't know, maybe many people are very shy to explain themselves, to what they feel, and this is what we need to come out. This is the opportunity for us to come out and explain ourselves. Look, let's say I need to learn, I want to learn, and I can tell you, while this morning while I was preparing this entire talk, actually, one small minor, it's just like a laughter joke, but it's something about the vaccine. If there is no enough production of the vaccine, so what governments should do? They put the remedy how to make the vaccine on a YouTube, and every household will start making their own vaccines, and they're going to start. This is a joke, but what I'm saying, they use the YouTube. YouTube means, if you don't know, then YouTube, there is answer for you, and up to you, either you want to take it or not, but there is answer for you. In fact, yesterday I was I was asking somebody in India, I don't know how to operate these things. Answer came to me, just go to the YouTube. No, but I'm on YouTube also, but subject is, let's have a very nice ending with a nice smile, and this is what I'm saying, smile makes your day, smile breaks your day. So let's start your day with the smile and end your day with the smile as well. Thank you, Atishca Ben, to coming and sharing your knowledge with our viewers and then with us, and it was very wonderful experience, and we will meet again after 3 weeks, 2 weeks times, because I think Mohan Bhai is online, and I'm sure next week he is going to come as well, and he is also preparing something, because one thing, this weekly talk, what exactly happening, I got very nice prominent my guest, like who is always ready for me. Only I have one message away, Tuesday are you coming? Yes, I'm coming. Okay, I'm ready for it. So that is why I'm very grateful, and I'm thankful to my all guests, like particularly Mohan Bhai and Atishca Ben, and then they gave them time and effort to me, and then next week Tuesday I think Mohan Bhai will come with something as well, something informative, something knowledgeable. But till then, Atishca Ben, thank you very much to coming and sharing your knowledge, and we'll see you again. Till that, stay safe, stay healthy, and then now is tomorrow. Tomorrow is our day for the Gujarati talk. Gujarati ma charcha. Remember one thing, the still one's question is holding back to you is what the holiday means. Holiday no matlab Gujarati ma શું કહેવાય એ તમારે હજુ શોધવાનો બાકી છે. તો આવતીકાલે સાંજના 6:20 આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં ચર્ચા ચાલુ રાખીશું. Till that, stay safe, stay healthy. ઓ ઈશ્વર ભજીએ તને મોટું છે તુજ નામ, ગુણ તારા નિત્ય ગાઈએ થાય અમારા કામ. હેત લાવી હસાવતું સદા રાખ દિલ સાફ, ભૂલ કદી કરીએ અમે તો પ્રભુ કરજો માફ. ઓમ દેવ શાંતિરંતરિક્ષગમ શાંતિ પૃથ્વી શાંતિરાપ, शांतिरोखदयः शांति वनस्पतयः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांति ब्रह्म शांति सर्वज्ञ शांति शांतिरेव शांति क्षमा शांतिरेधि. ओम शांति शांति शांति.